Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, March the 10th. I'm Jimmy Prince for the details. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment today announced the introduction of a new drug here which could see a sharp reduction in the number of amputations from chronic diseases such as diabetes. According to Chief Pharmacist Levi Walker, the Herbaport P drug is a revolution in the treatment of foot ulcers. The drug was developed by scientists at the Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology in Cuba. He says with its proven effective results, it could save the limbs of persons who suffer from complications of chronic ailments such as diabetes. He outlines that the medication contains epidermal growth factor or EGF to be applied by injection directly into the wound.
Adequate results to date. With the advent of Herbaport P, I think we have seen basically a revolution in the treatment of diabetic foot ulcers. Here we have a drug that is able to promote healing, which was basically previously unheard of. It's able to promote granulation and to restore the blood flow to the affected areas. And that accounts for it being able to produce results in over 80% of patients who are affected, and in cases more than half of persons who would have been unresponsive to traditional and conventional treatment have actually seen improvement with the use of this drug.
With a total of 434 amputations recorded here between 2008 and 2012, surgeon Dr. Barry Ossie says the Herbaport P drug is much needed in the country. The figures released today indicate that from 2008 to 2012, there were 142 cases of toe amputations, 113 cases below the knee, 97 above the knee, 74 foot cases, while others included fingers and hip amputations. According to Dr. Ossie, since it came on the market, there has been an 80% success rate in persons who receive the treatment from the drug. And the countries such as Ecuador, Colombia, Russia, the Philippines and Turkey have already reported incredible healing recovery rates.
Has the potential to promote complete granulation in more than 80% of the patient, with complete wound healing in more than 50% of the patient. That only for patients that the foot ulcer not responsive to other treatments. Injected, the epidermal growth factor has the potential to reduce amputation rate with a considerable personal and public health improvement, including longer survival.
In related news now, concern has been raised by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment about the number of persons with non-communicable diseases here. According to Coordinator for Non-Communicable Diseases, Beverly Liverpool, more than 70% of persons have risk factors to these diseases. She said a preliminary report from the National Health and Nutrition Survey shows that 71.2% had reported had reported 1 to 2 risk factors for chronic non-communicable diseases, while 27% had 3 to 5 risk factors. Liverpool further pointed out that from 2009 to 2013, diabetes was the leading cause of death.
Chronic non-communicable diseases account for more deaths in St. Vincent and the Grenadines than all other causes combined. 3 out of every 4 deaths in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are attributable to chronic non-communicable diseases. Chronic non-communicable diseases account for 65% of all visits to primary healthcare facilities, or what we refer to as the health centers. Diabetes is ranked as the 3rd leading cause of death between 2009 to 2013.
Coordinator Liverpool said that the Ministry of Health will be focusing on preventive measures for these diseases.
Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment would like to focus the attention of the nation on the importance of healthy lifestyle practices, behavior modifications, self-care interventions for individuals, families, and the community as a whole. These, we believe, are the fundamental imperatives in achieving sustained prevention and control of chronic non-communicable diseases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
In other news, head of the UWI Open Campus, Deborah Dalrymple, is advising Vincentians to take individual steps to mitigate against damage or loss of life during natural disasters. Dalrymple pointed out that this is one of their objectives when the university hosts its country conference here. The theme is promoting a culture of safety, building resilience to disasters, and stimulating sustainable development. She said the two-day conference, which begins here tomorrow at the NIS Conference Room, is a collaborative effort with the Regional Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, NEMO, and the Red Cross.
We can plan so much, but a disaster can happen that just wipe us out economically, people's lives, people's livelihoods, and then it brought to mind that in fact we have been on the receiving end of several disasters in a very short period of time. And I think as Vincentians we're waking up to the fact that we are not immune. As we certainly growing up, we thought we were immune from hurricanes, we were immune from everything. I mean, even though we had Lassufre in our backyard from, it's there, we live with it. Somehow we don't take it too serious until somebody says they're seeing some smoke or there's a rumble. But generally, we kind of just take it all for granted. And I think the fact that we've experienced these disasters within the last, couple of them, one right after the next, the floods in Georgetown, Hurricane Thomas, and then the floods in December of 2013, it kind of brought it home to us.
Dalrymple also explained that the information from the country conference will also enlighten community organizations and leaders with skills on how to ease the impact of hazards.
Promoting a culture of safety, building resilience to disasters, and stimulating sustainable development. So we are tying it all together. It's not just a matter of being aware, which is very important, we build awareness, but it's also about we have to take some responsibility for our own safety. We have to see how we can build resilience in communities. How do we respond? How do we mitigate against the impact of some of these hazards? And by working on the committee, we ourselves have been educated by those persons who are in the field.
Meanwhile, Deputy Director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, says there is a serious need for preparedness for natural disasters here, and volcano-related emergencies should also be a top priority for this country. Forbes is speaking at a workshop on the impact of volcanic ash on the environment here today. In attendance at the Paradise Beach Hotel conference room were participants from both the private and the public sectors, along with various environmental professionals. Forbes says though many years have passed since the last volcanic eruption here, the threat is still real, and therefore the workshop is to look at the possible problems that can occur in an eruption and to devise evacuation plans and other related strategies.
As you're aware, April 13th will be 36 years since the last eruption of the Lassufre volcano. And we always use around this time of the year, March, April, to remind Vincentians that we are living with this risk. It's not a matter of when, if the Lassufre volcano will erupt, it's a matter of when. So based on research, we have been learning more about Lassufre volcano, and in this particular workshop, we are learning what the possible ash falls from an eruption, how it can impact infrastructure, the environment, and basically our way of life, our day-to-day life. We want to use this workshop to more look at our planning for volcanic emergencies, and this stems from the research being done by SRC and the scientists, along with the updating of our national volcano plan last year, and this was done in collaboration with the SVG Red Cross. We updated the national plan last year to be able to give us a better understanding of the next eruption, how agencies are going to coordinate and collaborate to manage the crisis.
The state of employment for approximately 190 KFC workers is not known at this time, following the closure of the fast food outlet yesterday afternoon. Some of the workers at the main branch in downtown Kingston were in tears as they received the news of the closure, which local franchise holder Ken Boye says will be a temporary one, but could not give a definite date as to when the three outlets will reopen for business. Boye told SVG-TV News the closure is for financial restructuring and that two receivers from the BVI who are in the state will over the next 2 or 3 days do an assessment of the business and make recommendations for the way forward. According to Boye, though he has been going through a shaky financial period, he has assets that could be sold to pay the current bills the business incurred. He, however, assures everyone that he would bounce back.
So these fellows, who are they and what are they?
Well, they've been appointed as receivers to come in and see, you know, why we're not making our payments on time and how we could do better. And so they're really receivers from a company in the BVI who's been brought in to look at our operations closely, see whether, I mean, we have a lot of property. The problem is when this sort of news gets out about you, nobody wants to pay you because they think you're, I mean, I have properties that I could sell tomorrow and pay off the bank, but, you know, maybe a receiver should handle, because with me, everybody, you know, a small island, there's no, they say, boy is in trouble, boy, so we're not going to pay him what he said, but believe me, we'll make it.
Where he says that despite the rumors circulating that he was not kicked out of his building at Annesville, he also admitted that the quality of the fast food franchise was not what it used to be.
Our standards had gone down a little bit because we didn't have the cash flow to bring in the proper chicken, and we were buying chicken locally, and so, and I think in the end it's better. Let's close, fix what's financially wrong, and then get back and come back with the real KFC. So, okay, and then we think we might even expand to Georgetown and Canaran and places. But have patience with us, okay?
Is that true that you were kicked out?
I can't kick out. Nobody could kick me out. Apart from this one, I own the other building, so maybe I can't pay my mortgage, but nobody could kick me out that easily.
The KFC franchise has been in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since 1986. In related news, Prime Minister Dr. Al Gonzalez has shut down claims that the delay in the building of the new city at Annesville is the reason behind the closure of KFC. At a media conference earlier today, Prime Minister Gonzalez pointed out that the local KFC franchise holder, Ken Boye, is a businessman with a very good track record in this country. However, he describes as unreasonable and impractical statements that the delay of the Argyle International Airport and the new city at Annesville would have contributed to the closure of KFC.
You started to build that place in 2010 out at Annesville. City Airport should have been finished in 2012, 2013. Anybody seriously expect that you could build a whole city out at Annesville there in less than 5 years? Huh? Now, I don't know what are all the reasons, as I said, and for which investment decisions are made and investment decisions are not made. Even in the downturn of the economy in 2010, which was the worst 2 years after 2008, were 2009 and 2010, you know, the stats show you, minus 2-point-something% growth in each of the year, or approximately that. An aggregate loss of about 4% growth. But in 2010, Ken will tell you that KFC grew by 5% plus over 2009.
Prime Minister Gonzalez says, in his view, what is of most significance is Boye's statements of his hefty investment into the construction of the building at Annesville.
You build this place so expensive out when you couldn't get the top floor rented. And that you had to take the money from KFC to pay the mortgage there. Isn't that what he said? Well, it means that the mortgage was too high. And then I don't know the questions would therefore arise. It's not for me to raise the questions. But what I'm interested in seeing is that the business comes back. And how it comes back and so on, those are, government doesn't have anything to do with any of those things.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Gonzalez says the information he received is that the license for the KFC franchise in this country was taken from Boye.
I think the private sector entities in this country have a fair idea as to the reasons for the yanking of the KFC license, the franchise. I believe that people are fairly clear.
So the franchise was taken away?
That's what I was informed. That's what I was informed.
Well, SVG Television took to the streets of Kingston this afternoon to get the views of the people on how they feel about the temporary closure of one of their favorite fast food outlets. Here's more.
Well, in this economy right at this present time, there are hardly jobs for people, so it's just some other families to feed at this point in time, and it's really tough at the moment. So it will be hard, very hard, I would assume, unless they're very good at their job and can be able to replace the job as soon as possible. It will be bad because a lot of people will be out of jobs and everything, but we gotta go. Can't give no opinion about it.
It's pretty sad, but hopefully something else, something better or equal takes its place.
But I do hope they get something else somewhere else though. But I didn't know about it until today. Yeah.
It wasn't really that good to the fullest, I must say. Yeah. The standard wasn't really that good. Yeah, that's about it. No more comment. I can't tell you because I mean if they close down. And if they close down, I feel very sad about it. Because they hate it make $1. And I will be very sorry. Right? And all the workers, when they go home, they in the hand out. So I was sorry.
I vex because I was really close to the workers and them. I vex the closing down. Yeah, I wish I could open a little longer, but what is to be will be. That is all I could say.
In other news, a photo exhibition was officially opened here yesterday in Kingstown, geared at renewing the old holistic alliance of more than 200 years between France and the Garifuna people. The photo exhibition is being held at the Alliance Française and was proposed by Robert Charlotte with the support of the DAC Martinique and the network of the Alliance Française. Speaking at the opening of the exhibition yesterday, Chief Cultural Officer Anthony Tibbles thanked Charlotte for capturing and telling the Vincentian story in his photos and urged the Vincentian public, specifically photographers, to come in and observe the photo displays.
To extend an invitation to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially to the artists. There are a few of them with us this afternoon, but there are many more who are not able to be here over the next few days while this exhibition is up. Take the time to come and see. Photography is not just pointing a camera. And I see one of our premier photographers here, and he says that very frequently. Come and see the work so that you can appreciate what it is to take a photograph that is more than just an immediate digital record.
President of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, David Aki Williams, says there is no doubt in his mind that the Vincentian heritage is under threat. He explains that it is extremely difficult for a small developing country to be able to adequately stem the onslaught of foreign cultural penetration on the Vincentian heritage.
Certain things are unfolding before our eyes that we are helpless. And then when you have the top media, one or two radio stations encouraging the decimation, if I could, maybe that is too strong a word, but when you have people who are willing to call in on radio stations and you have facilitators at those radio stations who are willing to accommodate what they have to say concerning Vincentian culture, Vincentian heritage, then we know we are under serious threat because we as an organization cannot fight the power of the media.
Meanwhile, the photographer and artist behind the exhibits, Robert Charlotte, says he enjoyed very much the experience to travel across St. Vincent and the Grenadines and capture some of its most telling moments, and he urged Vincentians to come out and view the exhibition.
It's not an easy task to do portraits in photography.
Le plus simple, c'est de rencontrer les gens. Pour moi, je crois que c'est d'abord l'essentiel. C'est de pouvoir rencontrer les gens, échanger, partager.
But the easiest thing is to meet the people, and that's the essential of it, to be able to meet them and to exchange with them.
Alors, ce projet photographique, donc c'est cette exposition, c'est, comme l'a dit Vanessa, chaleur, c'est la restitution d'une résidence.
This work, this photographic work, as was mentioned before, is the rendition, the giving back of to stay here, to residencies in St. Vincent.
And chairperson of the International Garifuna Summit Committee, Zoila Ellis-Brown, says it is their mission to retrieve and preserve the Garifuna heritage and the culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Additionally, Brown says the 2015 Garifuna Summit will allow for the first time in St. Vincent and the Grenadines representatives from all countries where Garifuna now reside.
Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, and the United States. So we have a very powerful representation here, and it is historic because since 1797, when the deportation occurred, the exile occurred, persons have come back in different spots, but this is the first time we're all together. And St. Vincent is what connects us. Urume connects all of us because individually we share different political and economic and social histories as countries, but together all of us are connected by this island. The persons in these countries sing and remember this country, St. Vincent, as the homeland. And therefore it is so important to have all of us here to talk and share the common experience of being in this island and being from this island as our ancestors. So we also have delegates from 10 other countries who are here for the conference, who will be presenting academic papers on the Garifuna